When I opened the door to my apartment after 3 months on the job, I was expecting her laughter, the scent of her perfume, her embrace. But instead, I was greeted by a bed that smelled of another man, and my wife didn't even ask how my trip was. My name is Dennis. I'm 36 years old. I work as a drilling engineer on a rotational basis. Shifts are 90 days long. The north, frost, silence. Sometimes the howl of the wind, which cuts deeper than any offense. I work for us, for the family, for her, my Olivia. When we got married, I promised, you'll never know what need is. I kept my word, worked, saved, made plans. But as it turned out, while one is building, the other can simply leave for someone who's closer. This shift was especially tough. 52 below zero, missed deadlines, an accident. The signal was only available every other day. Olivia hardly called, wrote rarely. Sorry, honey, swamped at work. New firm, getting adjusted, she wrote. I believed her, because I trusted her. Because love without trust isn't love. It's control. It's fear. And I didn't want to be like that. Olivia had gotten a job in an office a couple of months ago. We agreed. Enough sitting at home. It's time to get out and about. I was even happy. I thought, new people, growth, she'll become more confident, happier. It turned out she really blossomed. Just not with me. I came home a week earlier than promised. I wanted to surprise her. Flowers, wine, the trip, 27 hours on the train. I barely slept. I dreamed of walking in, of her rushing into my arms, of us being together, finally. But the apartment didn't smell like me, not like my deodorant, not like our candles, but like men's cologne, spicy, expensive, too sharp for everyday life. On the nightstand in the bedroom, a glass, warm, a blanket on the couch, crumpled. Olivia, in a new robe, red, short, thin. I didn't buy it. She froze when she saw me. Dennis! Hi, got off early. Wanted to surprise you? I didn't know. I thought you were still on your way. She didn't come closer, didn't hug me, just stood there, as if afraid I'd come at the wrong time. I went into the kitchen. While she was boiling water, I looked at the calendar. On it, circled dates, not my returns, but work meetings, morning, evening, time from 7 to 9, Saturday, Sunday. You work on weekends, I asked? We're swamped, new project. The director demands that we... Director? Who is it? She sighed. An old acquaintance. Roman. He was in your class, remember? I remembered, too well. Roman Sterling, tall, self-assured, the eternal alpha. In college, he'd steal girls, whisper something in your girlfriend's ear, and then nod to you. No hard feelings, bro. I knew who he was, and I knew what he was capable of. You said you had a female director. She quit. Roman's in charge now. Are you close? Dennis, what are you talking about? I didn't start arguing, didn't start yelling, but I didn't sleep that night. She lay next to me, smooth back, soft exhale. I leaned in, wanted to touch her, but she flinched, sharply, unconsciously, as if she wasn't used to the right person. The next morning, I went to my mother's. She lives in the next neighborhood. Silently poured tea. I sat down. Mom, do you know who Olivia works with? She slowly looked up. I know. Roman. Have you seen him? Pause. Once, in the entryway. He was leaving the apartment when I came to wait for you on your day off. You knew. I didn't want to tell you. Why? What if you were wrong? What if it was just a working relationship? Why ruin a family? There it was, silence that cuts deeper than a knife. I left the entryway and realized I'd been betrayed twice. She, with another man. Mom, knew and kept quiet. And me? I'd been living for them all this time, breathing for them, dying in the north for them, and now I'm alone. But that's not the worst part. The worst part is that I don't even know the whole truth yet. While I was suffocating in the north, she was learning to breathe someone else's air. After talking to my mother, I walked home slowly. Each step was like a blow, Not to the body, but to faith. In the fact that loved ones are those who hold your hand when the world is falling apart. But it turned out, they just watch you fall and keep quiet. I opened the door. It was quiet at home. Olivia was in the bathroom. I sat on the edge of the bed and again felt a scent that wasn't mine. Not the one I was used to. Not her soap. But something rich, tart, as if a man had just left. I got up, opened the closet. On the top shelf, a box. New. I opened it. Inside, a lingerie set I'd never seen. Black, thin, with a cutout not exactly designed for sleep. She came out in a robe, her hair wet, her skin glowing. "What are you rummaging through? Did you get this lingerie for me?" She froze. "Dennis, be quiet." I went into the kitchen, sat down, took a cup, poured water without looking, didn't even notice it was boiling. The pain in my fingers distracted from the pain in my heart. "I found your surprise," I said, "and it smells like Roman." She came over, sat across from me, crossed her legs, the way a woman does when she knows her body is a weapon. "Do you want me to lie? I want to hear the truth. You can't handle it." Pause, she sighed, not a drop of shame in her voice. "Yes, we're close." "How long?" 2 months. "Why?" "Because he's there. Because he knows how to listen. Because he makes me feel like a woman, not a cook, not a wife waiting." I stood up, came over, looked down at her. "And me? Who am I?" She smirked. "You're a hero, a provider, a man with calluses. Only I didn't ask for that. I needed something else." I didn't yell, just asked, "Is he more important to you?" She was silent. Then, slowly, looking into my eyes, she whispered, "He's different. He plays on my nerves, and you make spreadsheets. With him, I forget how to breathe." I left. Didn't explode. Didn't slam the door. Just got dressed, took the keys, left the ring on the windowsill, and left. Later that night, I called an old acquaintance, Anthony, who used to work at the same company where Olivia now works. He knew Roman. "You're crazy for letting her go there," he said. "Why?" "He's got a nickname at the office, Director Womanizer." "And Olivia?" "He's been after her since day one. Led her on like prey. Chocolates, business trips, team parties. And no one said anything? Who's going to say anything when she was the one lighting the fire?" I sat in the car driving through the night city and felt everything bright inside me dying. But the worst part isn't her betrayal. It's that I started to doubt if I was ever needed by her, even for one day. In the morning, I went back home. She was sitting in the bedroom, on the bed, in that lingerie, and a cigarette in her hand. She never smoked. "You wanted the truth," she said. "Here it is. You've changed. I've become myself." She stood up, came closer, touching my hip, my groin, her body warm, exciting, familiar, but inside, not mine. She ran her hand over my stomach. "Want to? Let's go out with a bang?" I stepped back. "I want you to remember how we loved each other. And I want you to realize that you've only been half my life for a long time." That day I packed my things and left. Anywhere, just to get away from her body, which still smelled of someone else. I went to my mother's, opened the door. She understood right away. "You knew," I said, "saw him leave, and kept quiet. Because I was in your role once." "What?" "Your father was also a shift worker, and I also had a Roman. Only the older one. His father." "What?" "He and we were close, but I chose to be silent, and now history has simply repeated itself. The circle is closed." I went outside and realized, this isn't just cheating, it's repetition, legacy, something that's passed down in the family not through genes, but through the choice to be silent where the truth should have been spoken. But I'm not my father, and I won't let this story go on, although I didn't yet know that its end was only just beginning. He wasn't just a lover. He was part of our family, for too long. After talking to my mother, I didn't need alcohol to get drunk. I was reeling from words that didn't fit in my head. Roman isn't just my wife's boss. He's the son of the same Roman my mother once slept with. He's a continuation of the dirt she buried in the past. And now he's surfaced, right in my life. And it seems decided to destroy me the same way his father once destroyed mine. I sat in the car in front of the office, his office, a luxurious glass building, a logo on the facade. Inside, dozens of employees. Among them was Olivia. Among them, him. My hands clenched. I could feel my pulse pounding in my temples. But it wasn't rage anymore. It was determination. I went in. At the front desk, a girl in white. "To Roman Sterling," I said shortly. "Do you have an appointment?" "Yes, appointed by life." She was confused but didn't have time to say anything. I walked to the elevator. On the 7th floor, a glass office. He sat at his desk, his back straight, his shirt without a single crease. He looked up and wasn't surprised. "Dennis, you knew I'd come?" "Of course." "Then tell me, are you doing this out of revenge or just by inheritance?" He leaned back in his chair. "Sit down." "No, I stand when I'm spat on." He stood up, went to the bar, poured 2 glasses. "Do you want me to make excuses?" he asked calmly. "I want you to disappear from our lives." He smirked. "But she's not yours. Not anymore. You took my wife." "I didn't take her. She came herself." "You took advantage of weakness." "I gave her what you didn't give her. And by the way, there's something you should know." He paused. I tensed up. "You think this started 2 months ago?" "What?" "Dennis." He put down the glass, came closer. "The first time she was with me was before your wedding." The world went dark for a moment. Lightning, as if, struck my chest. I took a step back. He looked straight into my eyes, didn't turn away. "She didn't tell you?" "She's lying." "Want me to show you the messages?" He took out his phone, opened the chat. The first message, 3 years ago. "Are you sure you want me to marry him?" "Sure, I can't hold you back, but I'll always be there." "Why were you silent?" "Because it was her game, not mine." "You ruined my family." "No, Dennis, she ruined herself. I'm just a mirror." I wanted to hit him, my fist clenched, my muscles tensed, but he just stood and watched. "Hit me. Go on. Get it off your chest." "You think I'll become like you?" He nodded. "No, you're better, but weaker." I turned and left. My fingers were shaking in the elevator. I dialed Olivia's number. "We're meeting today. I won't talk on the phone." "Where?" "At my mother's. Whatever's said, you'll say it to my face, and hers." She came in the evening. My mother sat next to her, I across from them. "He showed me the messages," I said. "I know." "So you really—" "Yes." My mother covered her face with her hands. "Olivia, did you know who he was?" "At first, no. And then, it didn't matter anymore." "How could you?" She looked me in the eyes for the first time without a mask. "Because he knew how to treat me. And you only knew how to treat work." "You? Were you with him before the wedding?" Pause. "Yes," my mother sobbed. "You wore my dress, looked me in the eyes, said you loved me, and all this time you were already with him." "Yes," she whispered. "And if I could turn back time, I'd do it all exactly the same." I silently stood up. Didn't yell, didn't curse, just looked at her, at my mother, and said, "So this story was a lie from the beginning, and I was just the one paying for your fairy tale. But fairy tales end, and the truth then always finds a voice. The fairy tale is over. All that's left is a poisonous silence." I left, without slamming the door, without looking back. Behind me was my mother, with eyes full of shame. Behind me was Olivia, in whom I no longer saw either a wife or the woman I once loved. Only a silhouette, and deceit, which now smelled not of perfume, but of dampness, like old mold on the walls. I didn't sleep, didn't eat. For 3 days straight, I just sat in the rented apartment, staring at the ceiling. The phone was silent. So were they. And I realized, that means it really is over. On the 4th day, I went to the river. There, where Olivia and I used to walk, where we kissed for the first time. The bench was the same, only instead of heat, a gloomy wind. I sat down, and suddenly, a woman sat down next to me. At first I didn't look. Then I glanced over. "Hello, Dennis." It was Lena, my first love. We dated when I was 19. She left, got married, disappeared from my life, and now she's sitting next to me, as if someone from above opened an old album. "How do you know where I am? Coincidence, or not?" She looked towards the water. "I heard you're going through a difficult time." "That's putting it mildly. If you want, tell me. If you don't, just be quiet. I'm here." I looked at her. Her face had aged, but in her eyes the same clarity, the one I'd once lost. And here she is, next to me again. We drank coffee. She listened, without judgment, without advice, just was. "Do you know what's the scariest thing?" I asked. "What?" "I'm not angry. I'm just empty." "That's not emptiness. It's the silence after the storm. It's scary, but it's necessary." A week later, I made a decision. I went back to the apartment. Olivia no longer lived there. She'd gone to Roman. My mother had gone to her sister's. The apartment was empty and clean, as if everything that was had been burned to the ground. There was an envelope on the table, without a signature. Inside, an ultrasound. Pregnancy. 10 weeks. My heart twitched. Strange. I didn't want her child. But in this black and white spot, something of me was beating. Or of him. Or of her. Or of all of us. Together. And then, a second letter. Already by mail. "Dennis, I've left. Not to him. Not to myself. Just away. I don't know who the father is. And it doesn't matter anymore. If you ever want to, this child can know who you are. And if not, I won't interfere. You're not to blame. And I'm not a victim. Life just turned out this way. I'm sorry." I sat with this letter for a long time. Then I put it back and just said out loud, "I'm not going to save you. Because this time I've chosen myself." A month passed. I started a new job in the engineering department of an environmental company, moved to another city, started over, wrote articles, started giving lectures to students. For the first time in a long time, I was living for myself, not for someone else, not in the hope of being needed. Just living. Lena wrote. Sometimes came to visit. We didn't make plans. We just shared moments, silence, life. "You know," she said once, "you haven't become harsher." "What makes you say that?" "Because there's still kindness in you, even through the pain. That's rare." I smiled. "And you know what? I'm not afraid of loneliness anymore." "Why?" "Because loneliness isn't the absence of people. It's the absence of oneself. And I've finally met myself. I was betrayed. First my wife, then my mother. Then, memory, because it started to distort even what was bright. But now I know, not everyone who was there was mine. And not everything that collapses is a tragedy. Sometimes it's just clearing space, so that something real can enter. And if you're on the edge right now, remember, the point where you think everything is over can become the beginning. But only if you choose not to take revenge, but to live, not to blame, but to let go, not to fight for those who have left, but to reach out to yourself